encouraged, and I explored. I never felt alone. I was inspired to write. The words at times seemed to come through me, and not from me. This is the time that dreams be forged, pulled from the memory of the day. As brave old birds fade to a whisper, and the wind in the trees turns gray. The sky turns pink, explodes and folds, and the moth now enters the light. All colors merge together once more, as the day gently wakes his wife. One night, after about 10 days or so, I woke up suddenly. It felt as if there was a man standing over me, outside of my low-to-the-ground shelter. I heard his voice in my head. It was faint, but it didn't sound as if it was coming from my own thoughts. It felt similar to my experience with the writing. I had the strong sense that I was sleeping at a burial spot and that I should be extra respectful. I got up and went outside because I thought someone might actually be there. It was like that intuitive feeling you get right before you discover someone is watching you. I saw that the night sky was clear, but no one was around. Suddenly, I noticed that there was a light to the south of me. It was high up on the point by the sea arches. It was hovering through the trees. I watched it for a long time. I even crawled back inside my shelter for a sweater before returning to observe it again. It was just there, as real as any other light I've ever seen, explainable or not. It moved slowly, but never really got closer or further away. As near as I could get in the darkness, without climbing the cliff, I couldn't hear any undergrowth breaking. I watched it for so long I got tired and went back to bed. It is a long time ago now, but I'm guessing somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour. The next morning, when it was visually safe to do so, I climbed the cliff up to the forest. This was difficult, and it was hard to enter the greenery through the salal brush. I checked out the whole point. Despite it being a small area, it took me hours because my movement was so limited. There were no paths, and my feet would rarely touch the forest floor. I would move along a fallen log, and then fight through more salal, and repeat over and over again. I found a bear trail, but even this would have been difficult for someone to navigate in the dark, as they would have had to crawl. I also realized that the trail was not near the cliff edge. The thick undergrowth meant the light had to have been near the cliff, or some distance off the ground for me to see it. The forest on the point was also too thick to see the light from the other side if the source had been in the air. I kept checking the sides of the trees, where they met the cliff edge all around the point every 10 feet or so. I was looking for a trail or ledge where someone with a light could have been walking. I also could not find a way to move silently. The ocean had been calm enough the night before that I believe I would have heard a person thrashing through the growth. I had no rational explanation for the light. I'm still not sure what it was to this day. I told a few people over the years the story, and it gradually changed in my memory to include more than one light. When I reread my journal to research the location, I realized that I had only seen one light. It was proof of how malleable memory is, and a reminder of how beneficial journaling can be. I do not remember feeling threatened, merely curious. The light was eerie, but I did not feel as if I was looking at something supernatural necessarily. It was just there. I never saw it again. Several days later, I packed up and made the trip back to Nanaimo. I took a job I normally wouldn't have on a hunch. Within a year, I set off on my path through Vancouver, Afghanistan, illness, and recovery. As I wrote this book, it felt as if I was somehow completing the journey I had embarked on when I left Keeha Beach all those years ago. My whole life would have been quite different if I hadn't gone to the coast, met Spencer and Barry, meditated, journaled, cleared my head for 17 days, and then seen that ghost light up in the trees. I did not know it then, but it was on Keeha Beach that the seed for this book was first planted.